Do you like playing with balls? No, I'm not talking about footballs. I mean your balls. Our friends at Manscaped, the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming, want you to shave your pubes with the Tom Brady of ball trimmers, the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Only the GOAT technology for the greatest balls of all time. When you're going towards the end zone, make sure you use the right tools for the job and choose Manscaped. 2 million men worldwide trust them, so join the movement with our exclusive offer by using code DTR at manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping.
Stafford under pressure, and a tuck it, and he's in! Darrell Henderson, he's off and running! Has Woods, touchdown! Cooper Kupp just went up and took it away.
Van Jefferson for the touchdown.
Aaron Donald smothers him. Jalen Ramsey with the pop-up. Sacked by Leonard Floyd, having a day again.
Darius Williams with a diving hit. Jordan Fuller comes up with his second interception of the night.
Welcome back, guys, to the Downtown Rams podcast. This is Jake Ellenbogen, and I am your host today. Alexis Kraft is with family. She has a thing going on, so it's just going to be me doing a solo preview show for the Rams and Titans game, which will be coming to you, depending on when you hear this, might be coming to you tonight on Sunday Night Football NBC. Rams-Titans, 6-2 Titans going up against the 7-1 Los Angeles Rams. As always, if you enjoy our show, you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, and we'll just dive right into it. The Rams, they are going up against a pretty solid team. This is the number one team in the AFC right now, whether you like it or not. Derrick Henry is not going to play. He is out the foreseeable future, potentially this season. But there is a pretty solid running back in his stead, and that, in my opinion, is not Adrian Peterson, is not Dante Foreman, and is not Darius Hilliard. It's a guy that has actually taken snaps, has spelled Derrick Henry at times this season, and it's none other than former Boise State Bronco Jeremy Mcnichols. I actually am pretty impressed with this player in general. He's built, more kind of a stocky 5'9", 200-pound guy, but can make plays, pass catching out of the backfield. Not the best in pass protection, and he's not the greatest running back of all time, but I do think he'll be the number one running back in this game. And when you look at the Rams, obviously playing more of a bend-don't-break defense, he has a chance for fantasy owners around to put up a pretty good game, when it's all said and done. But just kind of looking at it, Jeremy Mcnichols is the first guy. It's going to be up to him. When you look at the Rams defense, I know a lot of people don't believe that they're the best as far as stopping the run, but they're actually not a bad run defensive team. They struggle giving up a lot of yards in the passing game, and that's really scheme-oriented, scheme-based. However, I will say that they will be getting back Darius Williams in this game, so that's something to keep in mind there. Now, with the Rams run game, I think they've done a really nice job at stopping the run. But Mcnichols, if he's able to, muster some yards and get going early on, it might open up the passing attack. And, if it opens up the play action passing attack, and obviously the bend don't break is built and designed to, solidify, giving up the shorter and intermediate throws and not giving up the big play. And I think the Titans obviously are going to want to try and exploit that. They have a guy like AJ Brown and Julio Jones that can make plays after the catch, that can break tackles and can turn, a smaller gain into a larger gain. So those are guys that I think can take advantage of the Rams' bend don't break defense. But with that being said, though, I think the Rams match up pretty well against the Tennessee Titans. You look at Jalen Ramsey and Darius Williams on both sides. Williams now, of course, back from the injury. You have the depth there with Robert Rochelle, the rookie 4th-round pick, as well as Dante Dion and David Long. In addition to that, you have the safeties. Jordan Fuller and Taylor Rapp having solid seasons this year. You have Terrell Burgess. You have Nick Scott. So you feel pretty good about the Rams in the secondary. They're still going to give up their yards, but I think it's going to be scheme-oriented more than, just talent-based. And I think really at the end of the day, I think the Rams won't give up a ton of yards, through the air as far as air yardage is concerned. Obviously, we know Ryan Tannehill can throw the football, but when you look, the Rams are going to want to keep everything in front of them. But furthermore, the Titans are going up against a pass rush that now has Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, and Von Miller. The Rams acquired Von Miller, and he's likely going to play. And so with that being said, it's going to make it really hard for a guy, like Ryan Tannehill, despite the fact he is mobile. First off, he's not going to outrun Von Miller going 100% at him. He's not going to outrun Aaron Donald. He's not going to outrun Leonard Floyd. So as mobile as he is, that is going to be a tough time for him. I expect Todd Downing, the offensive coordinator for the Titans, to really solidify a passing attack that's quick, 3-step dropbacks, dumping it off to Jeremy Mcnichols, getting the ball out quickly to Jeff Swam or, somebody like Anthony Ferguson or Michael Pruitt, or just getting it to Chester Rogers, Marcus Johnson, Nick Westbrook-Akeen, and just, making sure to, continuously do that, because that is the big thing there, right? That's what you have to worry about. It's all about that. And, we've seen in the past, the Rams pass rush has been good enough to, force their hand into getting the ball out quickly and not allowing to throw deep down the field. And, it's a pain when your team is constantly getting in there and getting an almost sack, but at the same time, they're doing their job. They're forcing an offense to not play by their own rules, and instead an offense to change their tune, an offense to change how, what their philosophy is. And I think that's a big thing there. It's something that we're probably going to see moving forward. It happened early on in the year. I think it's going to be back now with Von Miller coming to the fray. With that being said, so that's the case there. And then, looking at the offensive line of the Tennessee Titans, they have 4 out of the 5 starters. Cassenberry at right tackle, Taylor Lewan at left. You have Roger Saffold at left guard and Ben Jones at center. But the interesting development here is that Dylan Ray-Dunes is going to play right guard because Nate Davis is out for this game with a concussion. He has been ruled out. So there's going to be some shift. Obviously, we know Dylan Ray-Dunes is a draft pick that came out of North Dakota State. He's somebody that, one, I really liked coming out of the draft, but two, he played a little bit last week. So he had about 20 or so snaps. So he's going to get the starting nod in this one. So we'll see how well that goes. For the Rams, though, I think when you look at, the offense that the Titans possess, I don't think anybody there should be, truly terrifying. You've gone up against the likes of DeAndre Hopkins this year. You've gone up against, the likes of, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, Brandon Cooks. I mean, at the end of the day, obviously A.J. Brown's a hell of a receiver, and Julio Jones, great receiver when healthy, but it's not like, the Rams have never gone against anybody like that. So the Titans don't possess anyone that the Rams haven't truly seen. Derrick Henry would have been that guy, a guy that you probably you haven't seen anything like Derrick Henry. That would have been the case. He is not playing, so that is what you see there. Moving on to the Rams offense versus the Titans defense. I think early on, you're going to want to make sure that you can take advantage of this secondary. First off, the secondary is injured. Greg Mabin is out for this game. Rashawn Evans at the linebacker spot is out. So they do have some injuries on their defensive side, but mainly the secondary with Greg Mabin out. You have Janoris Jenkins, Elijah Molden, Chris Jackson, and Breon Borders. I do think that's a huge opportunity for a guy like Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, or Robert Woods, but potentially you could get Ben Skoranek involved. You could get Jacob Harris involved. I'm curious to see if he gets any opportunity in this game. Won't be surprised if he does, to be honest with you. You have David Long Jr. at linebacker playing 100% of the snaps. You have Jayon Brown back. You'll probably see a little bit of Avery Williamson. So I do think you're going to need to take advantage of the fact this secondary, albeit they do have a Janoris Jenkins, Elijah Molden, players obviously with bigger names, Molden being a second-round pick, and Janoris Jenkins, with Rams fans knowing who he is, the Jackrabbit himself. I do expect the Rams to take advantage of this secondary and make him pay. Kevin Byard is a guy that you have to keep in mind. He is a very good football player playing free safety. And then they have 2 other safeties I really like, and Amani Hooker and Dane Cruikshank. They have a solid defense. They have pass rushers. They paid a premium for Bud Dupree from the Steelers. They have Harold Landry, a former second-round pick out of Boston College. and Ola Adeniji. Not to mention they have Jeffrey Simmons, an interior defensive lineman that, is very talented. Danico Autry coming over from the Colts, Naquan Jones, Laurel Murchison, and Eli Nku. At the end of the day, this defense doesn't scare you, but Kevin Byard can break open a game, and we've seen that in the past. Life is back on sports bettors, and BetUS has your NBA, NHL, UFC, PGA, and yes, NFL betting lines up on their 27th year and live betting on all of it. Log into BetUS, that is BETUS.com, or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BETUS, BetUS, for 125% bonuses with promo code RAMS125. Customer service pros are ready to get your phone, social, and online sports betting kickoff started now. Play with the proven mainstay in the industry, BetUS. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Ready for an out-of-world experience, fellas? Look no further than the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped. That has just taken off in not only the USA, but Canada, the UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your whole solar system in. First scheduled for liftoff, new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. This spaceship is here to guide you on a journey to trim your body, balls, butt, and even your anus. This 4th generation trimmer also features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. Thanks to our advanced skin-safe technology, the Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor and a new multifunction on and off switch that can engage a travel lock and is even waterproof. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 4000K LED spotlight you can turn on and off when needed for a more precise shave throughout your travels across the universe. The Performance 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker. It's like having a little astronaut to chop your worst weeds up the top of your nose and your ears. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary dual-blade system. This nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. Don't forget about the Crop Preserver, ball deodorant, and the Crop Reviver to help your little planets be on their A game while feeling the sun's heat. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Abort hairy balls, Buzz Lightyear that Woody with Manscaped. When the Rams want to go deep down the field and you have a Cardinal there by the name of Byron Murphy, and he comes down and he makes a play on the football, you're stealing a possession away. You're generating a turnover, and those are key. You're not going to beat a Rams team if you can't steal possessions. And so I think the Titans, they'll be looking to get one of those turnovers, whether it be Jenkins or Byard. Those guys in the secondary are to watch out for. But at the end of the day, I do think the secondary is susceptible to being beat over and over and over again, and will have to make a play on the football in order to try to win this game, because I feel like the Rams are in pretty good shape, dealing with all the weapons they have. I think obviously you'd prefer to throw the ball. You're not going to be able to run it as well, because I do think their defensive line is pretty solid. They're good against the run, but at the same time I think you also can run it because your offensive line is good. And furthermore, I think you have to feel good about the way Darrell Henderson's running. Darrell Henderson, not to mention, Sonny Michel, being able to spell him out of the backfield. So there's a lot to like there. Tyler Higbee involved. I mean, there's a lot of weapons for the Rams. And so at the end of the day, I really do think the Rams, you have to feel good going into this. Players that I'm watching, Kevin Byard, A.J. Brown, and Jeremy McNichols for the Titans side. The Rams side, I'm going to be watching Von Miller, Darius Williams, and Rob Havenstein. The reason for Von Miller is obvious. He was just traded to the Rams. This is his debut. The reason for Darius Williams is he's coming off an injury, and he's definitely an interesting piece there. And then Rob Havenstein's just a highlight here because he's played just outstanding football this season. One of the best right tackles in the game right now, and he deserves to be mentioned, so I figured I would throw his name out there as well. With the predictions, I have Matthew Stafford throwing 3 touchdowns in this game. I don't expect him to go absolutely crazy, but I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if the Rams did. I think this is going to be a somewhat manageable game. I do think the Rams end up winning, but I don't think Stafford's going to be throwing 6 touchdowns or anything crazy like that, so I have him at 3. I have Cooper Kupp going over 150 yards receiving. It would be the 4th time tying his career high in 4 straight 100-yard games. And so I think this is a big opportunity for Cooper Kupp to continue on. His hot streak, he can go over 1,000 yards for the 2nd time of his career. So it's definitely something there that you want to see. In addition to that, Von Miller. I think this is somebody that will get a sack this weekend. I have him getting 1.5 plus sacks. So I do think Von Miller is going to have an impact in this one. I think early on the game plan will be get the ball out quick. I think that's something that Ryan Tannehill will do. But furthermore, you get the ball out quick, that's great and all. But eventually, you're going to get your offensive line wear down, and you're going to have to throw deep down the field in order to try to win a game. You can't just dump it off and, 3 and out, left and right. If the Rams defense steps up and stifles the Titans offense, it's going to be a long day at the office for Ryan Tannehill, which I kind of can see happening. So that's why I have Von Miller eventually getting through and getting 1.5 plus sacks. And I have the Rams winning 31-20. Look, I think this is going to be, pretty down to the wire, in the 4th quarter, at least at the start. And I think the Rams will just pull away. I don't think the Titans are a bad team. I think the Titans are obviously, worth being 6-2 at this point. I think it makes sense, but I don't think that they're better than the Rams. I don't really think they're that close to being better than the Rams. I think with Derrick Henry, it gives them an opportunity to potentially play the spoiler on the road. But with that being said, they don't have Derrick Henry. They have 2 receivers that are very good, but how much better are they than Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and AJ, Antonio Brown, guys that the Rams went up against? Not that much better. So I look at this team and I think, the Rams surely are playing a tough opponent, a team that has won 6 out of 8 games this season. But they're playing a team that, they're 8-5 all time against. The Rams are 2-0 in prime time this season, and they have a quarterback in Matthew Stafford who has 118 passer rating, which is 8th best all time through the first 8 games of a season since 1970. So I think there's a lot of good going in the Rams' way, gravitating the Rams' way, and I think a lot of people, whether you're overrating or underrating the Rams right now, some way or another, they're going to start to see this Rams team start to put it together. So this could very well be the game the Rams just come out firing on all cylinders, destroy the Titans, and make a statement. Or this could be a game where, they struggle, but they end up holding on for a win. I don't see the Rams losing at home on primetime, though, especially seeing that next week they have a primetime game on the road against the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. I don't see them doing that. I think the Rams win this game 31-20. I think the defense does a solid job. They give up a few, bigger plays this week. I think Mcnichols has a solid performance. I think you get some solid contributions out of A.J. Brown and, maybe Anthony Firkser. But at the end of the day, I just think the Rams are a better team overall. I think they're playing hot. And, of course, the Titans are coming off a nice win. Again, they're 6-2. They have a really impressive, dominant performance against the Chiefs. But I do think that, even with the Rams playing, back-to-back games against, teams with a combined 1 win, I think this team can beat anyone. And they've put together some really nice quarters of football. This is the best offense in terms of DVOA. When you look at what Stafford is doing right now, he is the MVP favorite. That is not a question at this point in time. People have to realize that Stafford is the truth. He is the real deal. And I do think eventually something is going to hit. where, you're looking at Matthew Stafford potentially, not just being the best this season, not just winning a Super Bowl or an MVP this season, but potentially being one of the best quarterbacks in football among that elite top 5 for years to come. And, he always was that with talent. But when you look at what he had around him, yes, he had weapons. But when you look at a defense where, his first playoff game ever, you're talking about him scoring 4 total touchdowns and his defense giving up 45 points. That's a true, testament to what he was dealing with. And, it really goes to show you it doesn't matter how great your offense is if your defense can't stop them. And to assume an offense to have 100% success every single drive, to make every field goal turn into a touchdown, is just not realistic. And to assume every defense, is going to get a stop every single down is not realistic. However, the defense let down Matthew Stafford at an alarming rate. And so what it came down to is, very simply put, he was not in the greatest of situations. Now he's on a team that is win now. He's on a team that just went out and got Von Miller. He's on a team that has Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and Van Jefferson as receivers. Tyler Higbee as his tight end. Darrell Henderson is his running back. And that's the thing is coming off last season being the number 1 defense. Yeah, this defense is not perfect. This defense is not the number 1 defense in the league, but you have to feel good about where they're at right now, and especially going out and getting Von Miller. Now, of course, they lost Sebastian Joseph-Day for the foreseeable future, but if anyone is worried about Greg Gaines taking over for Sebastian Joseph-Day, I implore you to go back, watch the tape, and see what he was able to do against Houston in his debut, his starting debut. That was his first start, and he looked really good. Greg Gaines is a damn good football player, and he is going to have an opportunity to really showcase that the rest of the way. And I believe truly that he will. That is the thing when it comes down to, is while the Rams do have injuries to Cam Akers, they have an injury to Tutu Atwell, they have an injury to Sebastian Joseph-Day. They've had these injuries. They have an injury to Justin Hollins. These injuries have been able to be alleviated because the Rams are the best team, in my opinion, in the league. They have this depth. They're able to go out. They have the receivers. They have the linebackers. They have all of that. And that's the thing. The interior defensive line, they don't have to use their 4th-round rookie defensive lineman because at the end of the day, they feel good enough with the 4th-round pick they drafted in Greg Gaines in the 2019 draft. So the Rams have to feel good about where they're at right now. I think their fans have to feel good about where they're at right now. Obviously, you have to play the games. You can't just assume the Rams move on to 8-1, but things look good for the Rams at this moment in time. They have an elite offense. The defense is turning a corner and just added one of the most premier pass rushers in the history of this league. And they're going up against a team that actually is going to matter on the resume. This is not a 1-7 team. This is not an 0-8 team. This is a 6-2 ball club, and this is the number 1 team in the AFC at this moment. If the season ended tomorrow, this team would have the number 1 seed in the AFC and have a bye. So, saying a lot. This is a big opportunity for the Rams. We'll see what happens, but I do have the Rams winning 31-20. I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been the Downtown Rams podcast, and I'll be back with Alexis Kraft next time. You guys take care, and we'll talk after the Rams and Titans game. Enjoy. Bet with the 3-decade leader, BetUS. Join now for 125% bonus or 200% bonus with crypto using promo code RAMS125. And bet sports, casino, horses, pop culture, and more at betus.com. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DTR at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and make sure to use code DTR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.